We help aspiring kettlebell coaches become confident as kettlebell practitioners and educators in only 10 weeks. If you want to find out more about our method, check the first link in the description and sign up for our waiting list. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Kettle Knights Roundtable. We do these on a not so regular basis, but I enjoy these because I get to talk to the folks that I had on a podcast on an individual level, but then we get ourselves together and then we have a conversation. We talk about kettlebells, fitness, everything, because we share one common trait. We're all trainers. We all are big fans of kettlebells. We try to help people improve their lives, get healthier, get stronger, get better. And today I have with me Coach Michael. We had a great conversation the last time around. It was deep. I think it was a 2-hour conversation that we had. And my main man, Yanni Kokozaki, in the house, the godfather of kettlebells from Lebanon. This is how I refer to him. The first guy who brought kettlebells to Lebanon, right? We can say that. All right. So this is the conversation that we're going to have today with these two guests. So Yanni and Coach, welcome to the roundtable.
Thank you. Proud to be here.
Awesome. All right, gentlemen, what have you been up to? As you can see, I've written plenty of notes about today's conversation. It's funny when before we start these conversations, we're all like, okay, what should we talk about? And what I'm a big fan of is just, having discussions general, and then we, pick it up from somewhere. I got some ideas in my mind that I want to share. I want to get your opinion, especially something that I want to pick up now is asking you guys how you train and why you train that way and what's your goal. And then we can talk a little bit about clients, but my main focus a little bit is asking how you guys train. And let's take it from there, man. All right, whoever wants to jump in. What does your training schedule look like currently?
Yanni, would you do the honors or?
Yeah, you start.
Oh, all right. Okay, you see, it's always the white people that goes first. Yeah, here we go.
They gotta go first.
So, okay, so actually, like today I was derailed, but when you receive an email about kettlebell competition, is basically like showing tits on TV, like, oh, titties. That's it. Okay. All your training program went to garbage. Like all of my goals. Like, all right, when the competition, August, I have the time. Maybe I'll prep. But now I have competed. Like I've completed almost back-to-back 12 weeks of kettlebell sport preparation. I did It was in February. It was the IKO Open, and I did the snatch, and then 4 or 5 weeks later, I did for England Open Cup, Open Kettlebell Cup, Classic Cup. I did 10 minutes of long cycle, so it was a 5-minute blades preparation. And now I'm finally, I hope not too late, 30 years in the, like a good scotch. I'm training to complete 1 kilometer of butterfly swimming in a pool, and I'm mixing barbells again because I've missed it, and I really needed this. Like my body needs it because barbells are a must. Like to my opinion, are a must. So this is me. Basically, a colleague asked me how much sessions do I have in a week. I said about 8 or 9.
8 or 9 sessions per week.
Like, you see, this is
Wow.
the thing. Yeah. So if we counting the general, I swim 2 to 3 times per week. This is the priority. I lift 3 times per week. I run 2 times per week, and I bike 1 time per week. So like this is my thing. But you see, this is the physical activities, and you can call again, this is the session. If we're talking periodization and prioritization, I do make an effort. However, it is balanced to allow me to slowly prep for my main goal. Now, as I said, which is the swimming. So it's kind of like, pre-season, in-season, off-season, etc. And now I got this smell with the kettlebell, and I'm thinking to myself, damn, if I just can have it inside, but let's see. I'm thinking about triathlon and doing it with 16s, which won't interfere too much in the overall preparation. But this is me.
A triathlon. You're trying to.
Kettlebell triathlon.
Oh, what does that look like?
So kettlebell triathlon, actually, it's a very great lift. I wish people have done it more often, and you have two types of these. So you have like, I don't know if it's classic triathlon, but you have one type of triathlon which you have 3, 5, or 10 minutes events back to back. So you do the jerk, you rest, you do the long cycle, you rest, and you do the snatch. Now they all must be completed in the single day. And you have the same thing with a 10 minutes. So you're doing 10 minutes of jerk, 10 minutes of long cycle, 10 minutes of snatch, which is something that I'm aiming for because I'm psychologically stable individual and I love this stuff.
So it's 10 minutes, right? So 10 minutes
Yeah.
of the jerk, then 10 minutes of a long cycle, 10 minutes of snatch. You rest in between.
Yeah, I'm
And you
resting
do that
as
on-
long as I can. So I
All right,
I
all right.
believe it's at least half an hour rest because you have points and you have ranking there, and you must do it with the same kettlebell size.
All right. So you decide, for example, all right, I'm gonna do jerk with double 16s. So then it's a snatch 16, and then long cycle 16.
Yeah,
You
because
cannot jump
you
back
are
and forth.
judged. Yeah, you are judged in the weight category, in the age category, as classic kettlebell sport event, and in the bell size. So I cannot jump snatching 24, and then like it doesn't work. I pick one weight and I go through. The second type, which I practice a lot in my studio, and I believe you should try too, because it's very peculiar. It's a great way to train. It's a 10-minute event that you do 3 minutes long cycle, 3 minutes jerk. You can switch between them, and 4 minutes of snatch. One switch, obviously.
One arm switch. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it with a single bell. You can do it with a double bell, the jerk and the long cycle, obviously.
Yeah.
And people can use various kettlebell sizes. So
That's
you can
cool.
really play, to your strong sides. And I've expanded the structure a little bit. So I like to play, and this is actually works like amazing. You have 3 minutes of Turkish get-ups, following 3 minutes of long cycle, and then 4 minutes of snatch. And this format people really love because you're kind of having almost everything
That's
inside.
cool.
So you have these types of triathlon, and you can like you have an entry level kind of like structure. When you do 3 minutes lift, 1 minute rest, 3 minute lift, 1 minute rest, 3 minute lift, and you're done. Okay, so
Cool. Awesome. So that's your current. So you're prepping for this competition, right?
I'm thinking about it. I
Are you
haven't
thinking about
decided.
it? All right.
Yeah, but I believe I will do it because 16s won't deter me from my main goal. They're easy enough
Yeah.
for me to handle because I do want to finish with the swimming. It will take me some time.
So that's your main goal, the swimming thing, right? All right, all right.
So swimming, so butterfly is the prioritization. Now I'm working more on technique, so
Butterfly, that's tough, man.
Yeah, there's stuff, but
It's really tough.
yeah, but this is this is the fun part because it's not the butterfly, it's this conversation with the water that I'm interested in. Okay, like to really feel and float and do this movement effortlessly. So I can allow myself now to play with barbells, okay, to gain some strength and then slowly basically focus only on butterfly, keeping everything to the minimum.
Wow. Yeah, the butterfly is I mean, I'm not a swimmer at all, but I tried it, self-taught, and it's just, I mean, 25 when I was swimming, I had a part of my life, a time of my life where I was focusing on swimming, and then we had 25 meters. That's not even the Olympic, I think is 50, right? So that's one lane. And even 25 meters with the butterfly, and I had no technique. I just taught it myself. It was so exhausting. This is swimming. Swimming, crawling. It's just like when you normally look at this, right? It's swimming and running. It's like it's just perpetuous locomotion. That's it. But if you look at the guys who are really fast and they're doing it well, Especially, I always mention this one dude who ran the marathon in 2 hours. I mean, that's a pace of 20. What kind of pace is that? That's 20 kilometers per hour or 21,
It's a little
right?
bit more, but it's a pace that if you are starting fresh on his last kilometer, you won't get him.
That's a good point. You will die while this guy is at kilometer 42.
Yeah,
You're going full speed, and this
and
guy's
you're
still like,
fresh.
"Hey, yo, what's up?"
Yeah.
You're fresh. This is so amazing, and this is what it's just when you look at sports in general, and especially if you train a lot and you dabble a little bit with different training modalities. This is when you really then get a appreciation for high level sports, where you understand what the body is really capable of and how these guys and gals are pushing their body to the max. We're like, wow, man, this is so insane.
You know, the interesting point is like we are accustomed to look and at training as a basically a 3D model. It was two-dimensional model at first. It was intensity and volume, all right? Like you see how fast. And then it was introduced by CrossFit, reintroduced by CrossFit actually. And we have this three-dimensional model. They introduce um, not compression. Uh, Sorry, I'm missing the word. Like how much within a given time frame. Yeah, I just really skipped the word in English. You have a intent. I'll remember it. Okay, so it's not the amount of work that you do; it's the amount of work that you do in any given time. Okay, because this is what first responders might do. But you have a fourth dimension, which I really like, and this is the overall effort. So how fresh you finish half Ironman, 1K butterfly swim, and 10 minutes of long cycle jerk, whatever. All right. And what can you do next? And
Yeah,
I'm not talking
I
about
like
the
that.
competition or the world championship, because there you're coming to die. Okay. This is the suicide. This is you're an athlete, you're prepared, and this is like you're really giving all. Okay. They take you out on a stretcher. This is fine. But everywhere else, it's really interesting to see the ratio between, okay, I finished uh, my race, okay, my running, I finished my swimming, I finished my kettlebell 10-minute set in a competition, and my numbers are in the average, like in this bell curve, okay, I'm like among the good guys that lift and train, but while good guys need recover and they're completely like ruined and they beat up, I just go in the evening and I do my run. I go lifting again and I'm kind of, okay, I'm recovered. I'm cool. So this efficiency, okay, this muscular efficiency, how effortless can you be? So this is what I'm searching in swimming, and this is what I'm searching in lifting, and this is was my goal for finishing half Ironman. I said, okay, I want to do a decent time. I understand, I know myself, but I want to finish it with the feeling that, all right, like it was good, it tiresome, but hey, let's lift, okay, like let's do
Yeah,
something. And
yeah,
this is I came pretty close. Like basically, this is how I finished.
awesome.
And this is like because you're talking about recovery, and I want like I have life in front of me, so I don't want like there is no point of killing myself.
Yeah, 100%. Yanni, what does your training look like?
Yeah, these days, like I'm I'm focusing more on like lifting heavy kettlebells. So sometimes I lift heavy, sometimes I lift
I
light.
saw that. Yeah,
Uh, yeah.
them
So
heavy bells. Yeah.
there are phases. So this is the phase where I like to lift heavy. I would like to like if you train for giveaway sport, you must do competition. So here in my country, no one does giveaway sport except me. So one
I
time
love
I
this.
trained, yeah, one time I trained with the Russian guy for 3 months. I was I was dying. I was lifting like sometimes doing 20-minute snatches. Like he used to tell me to run 3 times a week, 1 hour every time. That was okay, but sometimes he would like give me, for example, start to, like I've never lifted 10 minutes, and he gives me like do 10 minutes jerk. I've never done it before. So yeah, but I don't know if he was pushing me or he was expecting. He had high expectations from me, but this pushed me. So my numbers were getting better every week. So, but it was very tough. It was very intense. Like you have to manage your life around your lifting. This is what happened when you're preparing for competition. So I had no competition, and I was training like I was preparing for a competition. So it was so tough and so hard. But then at the end, I thought, why am I doing this? There's no point because I don't have competition. Why to train so hard and so tough for nothing? If I want to compete, I have to travel. And it's not very easy to travel these days. So this is why sometimes I do gear voice sport for 1 month, let's say. Sometimes I do circuits. I do heavy kettlebells. Sometimes for recovery, for example, I take the kettlebells outside and do some flows, you know. So when I first started, I started in 2010. I learned with someone who did RKC back then. There was no SFG. And then Steve Cotter introduced me to Gear Voice Sport in 2012. And then I also did a workshop with, I keep forgetting these days, with IKSFA. What was his name? Sergey Rudnev.
Yeah, the legend.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah, I saw him 2 years. I did 2 workshops with Sergey Rudnev. Yeah, this guy is crazy. Like, the guy is half my size, and he can outlift me at any day. He's like he's a role model.
Yeah, Rudnick is the godfather of Gear Voice Sport.
Yeah. He's like when you train with him, you see him lifting. He lifts effortlessly, and he's like his small size is not big. Like if you see him, you would tell him, like, man, go train, do something, lift weights. You have to take care of your health, you know. but this
do you even lift, bro?
Yeah, do you even lift? But this man can
girls.
He's the kind that makes your ego shrink, you know.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is they call this nowadays. I'll have to make a video about this. They call this the sleeper build.
He doesn't look like he trains.
Yes, the sleeper build. I love this. So it's it's obvious when you see somebody, the typical gym rat, the typical bodybuilder. I mean, this guy can wear a suit and still looks like Michelin Man. Right? Yeah. So he looks clunky and heavy and big. Then strongmen, of course, I mean, these are just big by nature, and they eat rocks for breakfast. We all know this, right? So of course you see them look intimidating as well and look big and bulky. And the sleeper build is the guy who wears a shirt, looks pretty normal, but when he takes the shirt off, you're like, oh, bro, I didn't know. So I wouldn't necessarily classify Sergey Rudnev as a sleeper build in that regard, but a sleeper build can also be somebody, from my perspective, who you wouldn't expect this guy to lift this amount of weight or to move or to train. And you know what's funny is exactly what you're describing, Yanni, is why I still consider it the wrong approach if you use Gear Voice Sport to build muscle with kettlebells, because it doesn't.
It's never meant to build muscle.
It's never meant to build. Even though we can say, I mean, if you are at a small frame and you always, let's say you do very heavy long cycle, So for me, a heavy long cycle would be double 32s and double 40s. I'm dying with double 40s. I never tried. So let's double 32s, double 34, double 36, something like this, right? So this would be very heavy for my frame. And then you can say, all right, because of the heavy weight, even though I try to lift it explosively and be as efficient as possible, it still requires my frame to utilize every single muscle fiber that I have. Plus, we can still say, okay, you're still not that efficient. You have to, work on your technique to a certain extent, blah, blah, blah. But it's like you said, Michael, right? So when people ask me, I always say, you want to build muscle with kettlebells, make sure you don't use too much of the ballistic lifts. They are rather strength, endurance heavy in that regard. And when you build muscle, this is where the RKC Strong First idea comes a little bit back in, where you say, let's use some grinds, right? Some heavy seated presses, some heavy, just the stuff that we know that builds muscle, right?
Absolutely. Listen, I honestly don't know. And again, we've talked about in our conversation that everything is abused and perverted, and TRX began as something very cool, and then it became something that is not. And then it's lost its popularity kind of a little bit. It's hype because people thought that it will build muscle or power or strength, and it's never supposed to do it. So kettlebell sport never was a tool for muscle building. Muscle is an outcome if you're lifting heavy, like in Levi case. Okay, Levi couldn't care less about muscle. Okay, he lifts kettle because he likes the sport. But again, he lifts heavy, his muscle grow, he eats clean, that's it, done.
Mm-hmm. And you're mentioning, just to make sure the listeners and the viewers, and maybe Yanni, you're talking about, right, Levishki training. What is it? What is his Instagram handle?
Levi McQuart are
Levi McQuart,
yes.
Hard to kill. Yeah. The guy's a walking tank. Yeah.
He's amazing, all right?
But he's also, I never met, I asked him once to jump on a podcast. Now that you're mentioning his name again, I got to reach out to him again. He said, when I reached out, he was like, yo, I'll be in the jungle. I have no internet, so I can't join.
On a hunting trip,
yeah, right. So I got to reach out to him again. So, but still, Levi is a big build, right? For naturally built.
Yeah, well, Levi's story, and it's an interesting, to make a point about kettlebell sport. Levi's story, he was a wrestler in high school, then he got fat.
Guys, Glenn is joining.
Oh.
Keep your thought, Michael. Yo!
Glenn Weinstein, welcome.
Glenn in the house, Kettlebell 6. Yo, man, it's been a while. Well, I got to unmute him first, and then see your beautiful face, man. Hey, it's cool that you... Hey, say something, Glenn.
There you go.
Hey, here we go. Yo, look at the guy. Look at the muscle, man. I'm intimidated. Yeah. Look at the guy. Love it, man. You look awesome.
It's finally summer here, so sun's out, guns out.
Guns out, exactly.
Yeah.
Man, you look great, man. Glenn,
thanks,
awesome.
Sorry, I'm calling in late, and I can't stay for the full conversation. I've got 2 kids to get through dinner times and all the rest of it.
Yeah, totally fine.
The story of my life. It's all right, man.
Totally fine. We understand. All right, so we're and just keep your thought, Michael. Just the listeners and the viewers. We got Glenn from Kettlebell 6 in the house. Glenn, we had a podcast discussion. Was like what, ages ago?
A while ago. 18 months.
Yeah, right. It was a great combo, and then all of a sudden, I this roundtable thing is where I'm keep inviting people that I had conversations with into our Instagram group, and then when I invited Glenn, I saw you reached out to me a couple of months ago, I think the beginning of January, and I didn't see it, so I was like, oh my God, man, because I wanted to chop it up with you again on the podcast. So it's great that you joined. I hope you're doing well. So yeah, welcome to the pod, right? Welcome to the roundtable.
I need to add my video to your school community because I did your 1-minute snatch challenge.
Oh yeah, awesome. I mean, that's easy for you.
I haven't posted it yet. I did it with a 32, so I need to.
Yeah. It's easy for you. And just interesting that you mentioned the school community, and this is something that I want everybody to know. Yanni and Michael, for you too. I'm starting this. I started this kettlebell community. I don't know how familiar you are with School. School.com is a community-based.
Yeah, I know it.
You know it, right? So it's a
Yeah, yeah.
community-based software. It's kind of like the next evolution. They already claim, right? It's like AI, the next evolution in social media. So you got to go check it out. It's built on communities. So the thing is, when you download the app or you sign up, for example, I came up with the idea of a kettlebell dojo. So I'm inviting our subscribers and everybody from all around the world, trainers, I don't care who you are, just join, because it's not Leberstock, it's kettlebell dojo. People who love kettlebells, let's join and have a conversation. So it's an awesome way. When you open the app, you see that it's all about kettlebells. You join the dojo, and then you have people from all around the world. It's like a Facebook group, isolated, however. No ads, no doom scrolling, no BS, no nothing, just a group thing. And the idea is, I think the guy who came up with it, Sam Ovens, struck gold, because in our community, always somebody's online. And I got the interaction, guys. Let me tell you, from the last couple of days, when we started 3 weeks ago, I think, or 2 weeks. In the first week, we grew to, I think it's close to 100 members. And we got over, listen, 2,000 comments from only 90 to 100 people. The interaction, I have never seen something like this. The interaction is mind-blowing. No Facebook group comes close to this. Forget Instagram, forget it. This is massive. So I invited Glenn, of course. I want to invite Yanni and Michael, you too, into the Kettlebell Dojo if you're interested. It's just putting trainers on the map. We just, again, got to come. Somebody asked, hey, are you in New York City? And do you know trainers in New York City? So my idea is I want to put everybody on the map. But at the same time, I also want to recommend you guys, if you have a following, if you have a community that you want to build, this school thing is really, really massive. There is
that it?
potential. That's it, Yanni. That's it. You don't have to pay. If you want to join trainers, I invite you guys, of course, for free, because having you in a group is awesome. There's so many people who ask questions and blah, 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 blah. This is so great. And then I'm going to send you an invite link, Yanni, if you're interested, and Michael, you too.
Yep.
And Glenn, I think I already sent you an invite, right? Did you get it?
I think so, yeah. I'm just double checking. I've got it.
Great.
I just found it on.
And just if you want to build it by yourself, I highly recommend. Glenn and I, we had a back and forth over WhatsApp when we were talking about it, right?
Yeah.
From a monetization standpoint, of course you can monetize it. In our case, it costs $9 per month. We started with $5 a month. And while I see the monetization aspect that is very interesting, what I see is even more heavy is the interaction. The community, these guys are every time I open it up, it's like, oh, a comment 2 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, 8 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. And the cool thing about these communities is it's a leaderboard system where if somebody collects a lot of likes on their comments, they upgrade in their level. And we've built the dojo with the belt system. So it's white belt, black, up from the white belt up to the black belt. Then you have to do tests. And by the way, I just finished, which I'm really proud of. I'm really proud of this. I finished Steve Carter's IKFF CKT1 test with a 28 kg. The first time I ever did it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Well done.
That was really tough.
Good job.
That was really tough, man. I remember the first time I did it with the 20 kg. I died because I didn't know how to train with kettlebells. Then the 24 was like, all right, that's a challenge. And now it's the 28, which I've mastered. And now my next goal is to do with the 32. And I'm not sure if one of you guys have seen it. Denis Vasilev even did it with the 32 kg. And he was even challenged. This is why Steve is so awesome, because this is such a great way to gauge the level of fitness and the level of understanding with kettlebells, with the swing, the clean and jerk, the snatch, and the goblet squat, unbroken. This is just a beauty of a test.
Yeah.
So I've talked a lot, but man, you got to join, folks. This is so powerful. So Michael, please continue. We were talking about Levi, right?
Yeah, so we were talking about, the correlation that jumped out of nowhere between kettlebell sport and muscle building, which to me is absolute bogus. Like, it never was. Like, it never meant to be like this. So I began to tell a story about Levi when I began coaching. Like, okay, Levi was a high school athlete. He got fat. He got fit with kettlebells. He did RKC. He did this amazing feats of strength with his crazy Turkish getup with 90-kilo barbell. with
Wow.
chains, and he's like burpees, muscle ups, and he's a huge guy. And then I saw like he kind of discovered the kettlebell sport, and this is when we met. We began to talk, and like long story short, I became his coach. So on our preparation for, I believe it was half marathon, half snatch or something, he did kettlebell sport program that I prescribed with some GPP, because GPP is always a complementary to men's, like, you know, to a men work. That this is the basic of training. And he got, first of all, he got muscle mass, and he posted about it on Instagram. And then I saw it, like he bulked. And since it's kettlebells and he's eating very clean, he got like bulk and lean. And eventually I told him, listen, why don't you go and just do a bodybuilding competition?
Yeah, he
Because
looks crazy.
he really was ripped. And he said,
Yeah.
like, it's Levi. I said, nah, I'm not interested in this shit. So like, come on, forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an outcome because he stated, like, I don't know what Coach Michael trying to do with me, but I gained, like, you know, I went up from a weight category and like muscles or, and blah, blah. And, you know, like this conversation. But the main point is the muscle mass was an outcome, never the goal. He ate clean, he lifted heavy, he did his programming with the GPPs, the squats, a little bit of presses, like, you know, all around program, and voila. But I will never tell anybody, if he wants to build muscle, do kettlebell sport, or even, you know what, kettlebell for that matter. The quickest way, go to the gym.
Yeah.
You
But
want
one-
kettlebell?
But I have one question.
RKC, it's your solution. Like
I have one
basic
question, Michael.
complexes.
I have
Yeah.
one question. So the Levi, and if you don't know Glenn, and I didn't even introduce yourselves. Glenn, he reigns from the UK. Coach Michael reigns from Israel, and Yanni from Lebanon. So we're all these guys are. I said it in the beginning, but for those who are tuning in, I had Glenn on the podcast, Michael on the podcast, I had Yanni on the podcast, and now this is the first roundtable, so getting together. So that's why introducing Glenn to the crew now. But my question, Michael, Levi was lifting with, I'm assuming, you know, getting started with double 20s, double 24s, then double or whatever, you know, 28s and 32s and stuff, right? So he was doing regular kettlebell sport prep, right, for the competition, and he was doing some GPP, but not that crazy wild bodybuilding type of GPP, because he wanted to build muscle. He did the regular preparation, right?
So
and let's assume, let me, so you understand my question. So he was kind of like, let's say, a similar preparation, like, for example, an Ivan Markov would do, right? For jerk or whatever. But if we compare Ivan to Levi, Levi looks like a Viking compared to Ivan. So Ivan Markov is one of the greatest jerk guys who ever existed. But he doesn't look muscular. But he does do the typical sport lifts. And you're saying that Levi did, let's say, a similar programming, but bulked like crazy. So why is that? I mean, can we maybe say that certain people build muscle and react even to that stimulus of a kettlebell sport perspective with the ballistic lifts, and then build muscle like crazy? Because if Levi had a similar programming like all these kettlebell sport guys do, why did he bulk so much?
So I understand. Now listen, first of all, Levi came pretty ripped and strong from the complexes that he did. Okay, it wasn't like he did not start with me. He had his crazy Ross training routines and strong, like RKC hard style routines.
Yeah.
And he lifted 60 kilos, 80 kilos, 48 kilos for complexes and squats and presses. So he built it from there. All right. So like he came with potential. I believe that Markov never intended to really focus on this stuff. He just grew into the sport, and I believe I know who trained him. There is a great coach. She knows how to train kids, and like she really grows them up very well. And if Ivan, like, ever want like to really build or invest, all right, he probably could. I don't know what GPP style, like I'm familiar with the GPP styles that like usually the Greeks prescribe. In my case, I'm a big fan of powerlifting. So I'm a big fan of the basic. Скажи привет. Hello. Go it on. And
Hello.
I'm a big fan of the powerlifting moves. So mixing heavy stuff for the frame, okay, for the heavy stuff, and that's it. So it was like um, overloading the same physiological mechanism is pretty stupid because you already done your kettlebell work session. Okay, doing another CrossFit Metcon style, which is great, is loading the same physiology system. Why do so? You have your neurological system, which is fresh, and it, if you load it correctly, not overloaded, and become a powerlifter while you're trying to be a Gary Vee, this is the way to an injury. But if you load it correctly, it will give you the correct neural drive and correct strengths that the 48s, 32s, 24s will feel lighter. And this is what the absolute strength does. All right, so this is how it mix and running. Okay, now since Levi like running and him is, and he told about himself, he has some like he has his knees after wrestling and everything. So we did rowing, but running is a must because this is the basic activity. Other than this is the old good classic powerlifting, like squats, deadlifts, some like military presses, bend, like and pull-ups, because kettlebell, like we don't do enough pull-ups, and you must have a back to sustain what you put overhead. So there are many backward, like smart backward.
But see, so Levi already came prepared and
Yeah.
already looked like the walking tank that he is.
Absolutely. I have no credit for it, but the overall transformation that occurred while doing kettlebell sport, it was interesting.
Yeah,
And he
this
noticed
really
it. I never saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, and he really, this guy looks awesome, looks massive, and he does the lifts, right? He does the kettlebell sport thing and still looks very muscular and ripped and awesome.
No,
This is
he's
cool.
still strong.
Yeah.
We just
Love it.
overachieved. We completed his Master of Sport, and with the 32 division, he
Wow.
got it in the long cycle. Yeah, it's
How many reps did he do?
64.
This is massive, man.
64. He had 70. It's due to the operation that he undertook. Like his arm gave up on minute 9. He had 70, if not more.
Oh, right.
So we really it was a great job.
Awesome.
We did. And yeah, people don't believe him that they think that he injects. He doesn't. So if somebody
He's just naturally, yeah. I mean,
people refuse to believe.
Yeah.
But
They always do. They always do when they look at somebody who's really, really, really muscular. But at the same time, it is, you can't. Sometimes it's hard to decide. For example, the Liver King guy. I think everybody knew that this guy was on roids, and he always he avoided this top. Or I mean, the Liver King guy even said that I don't do steroids. But at the end of the day, it was like, come on, man, the way you look, this is a little bit fishy. But that's why I think in the day of age of social media that we live in, it's kind of like a legitimate question, because so many people who are enhanced are telling their followers and everybody in the world that they're not. And then you have these genetic freaks who just look like a walking house, who don't take anything, but they just have the massive gift, right? So Glenn, the question that we got started with was the training routine. So how do you train? Do you have any goals, any competitions in mind, or how do you train currently? What does your workouts look like? And how do you look so awesome, man? With the amount of muscle that you put on.
Me right now, I've got a 7-month-old little girl. I've got a 5-year-old boy. My training right now is like, get something in to stay consistent. There's no view to be competitive or hit any PRs. This stage in my life is about being there for my family. more than for myself. My training is about my mental health, not about getting ready for a competition. And I'll get back, you know, when life is less stressful and you know, my daughter is out of this initial phase of her life and I have more time, I will get back to thinking more competitively. But at the moment, no, I've always really enjoyed blending hardstyle and sport. I came up through hardstyle before I was like dedicated full time to kettlebell training. I did a bunch of powerlifting, like you were saying, Mike. I believe very strongly in building like peak strength, and how that can happen alongside building the endurance for kettlebell sports. So even though I haven't been in a gym in any meaningful way in 4 and a bit years, I haven't had a membership in almost 5 years. I own kettlebells up to 92 kilos, and it means that when I pair up my 68 and 92, you can still deadlift quite heavy from home. You can still squat quite heavy from home. And what I quite like doing is playing with lever lengths. So I'll put on a 20 kilo weight vest.
Yeah, I saw that.
Put my
Awesome.
68 kilo kettlebell on my back, get onto a slant board, adding slow eccentrics and pause reps means that actually, although it's only 88 kilos, that with slow eccentric and pause reps, you can still be working very meaningfully on peak strength, and then go back to the sort of high volume sports style training or flow style training or juggling. And at this stage in my life, I'm sort of enjoying exploring all of those other things without the pressure of needing to have some rep number I need to hit, a coach I need to impress, a competition that I have to get ready for. It's just sort of about enjoying the fact that my training is just for me right now. And I get to focus professionally on everybody else's training. And personally, I focus on my family, and my training is really like the afterthought to all of that, where I just get to just enjoy it for me. Today was a unique day. You know, it's finally, the sun is shining here. So I pulled out all of the big bells, and I got a couple of my heavy sandbags as well. And I just played with all the heavy stuff today. Heavy carries, heavy deadlifts, heavy swings, that sort of stuff.
I love that. And it's like, yo, I have a daughter, so now I gotta learn how to carry bodies. That's how I do it. That's his post. I was like, that's what's up,
Dude,
man.
that post is going crazy. It's hit like over 6 million views. It's mad.
Wow, really?
Mad.
Wow, on IG?
Yeah, on Instagram.
Man.
It's done
Yeah,
crazy.
man. That resonates with everybody. It's like, yo, you gotta know how to
Yeah.
carry bodies, man.
That's it. I'm ready. I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm always prepared. My working sets are
Born
with
ready.
nice
Yeah.
weight. Whatever boyfriends are about to weigh, that's what I train with.
I love that.
Yeah.
So let me give you my 2 cents of how I train. I've really changed this one little thing that did a lot for me, and that is what you're mentioning, Michael. And funny thing is, I do not prepare for any type of competition, and I've been lifting for so long that it's like if I don't lift, I probably fall apart. It became such an important part of my body and my daily routine in my life that it has to, even if it's not long, it just has to be in there. And it takes just these 30 minutes that I do. All of my trainings, I compress them down to 30 minutes, and even some are 20 minutes, and I'm totally fine. I mean, when I was in the gym, I spent way more time in there. When I realized, there was this one realization that I'll never forget. I was like in the gym doing all my sets, and then I'm like, listen, man, for 20 sets, it takes me 40 minutes to stay here. This is absolutely stupid. For 20 minutes of time on attention, with all these minutes of rest in between sets, I have to spend 40 minutes to get 20 minutes of work out of it. That's like a very bad time investment. Long story short, then I discovered kettlebells, and things have changed. But what I incorporate now is, I love this. I call it the hunter-gatherer method. And you alluded to this before, Michael, but you described it in a different sense, where this readiness and the efficiency, right? It's not about you complete your training or even your competition and then you're dead, they have to pull you out on a stretcher. But it's, can you still carry on? Can you still move on? Can you still move forward? And this picture that I always have in my mind when I train, since I uttered it for the first time, when I told it to I think I told it to a client, was this image of the 4 of us going on a hunt. So, and back in the prehistoric age. So what did we have to do? We have to, so let's say we set up camp in a very sheltered place. So then we have to go out on the fields. If the four of us have to go out on the fields, and we can't leave our wives and kids unattended for too long, I'm assuming we're running. Or we don't casually walk, right? I think we are maybe not full speed running, but we are going at a very brisk and fast pace because we want to make sure that the camp is not unattended for too long. So once we hit the fields, we spot the mammoth. All right, so if the four of us spot the mammoth, we then have to cower down. So this requires some mobility. We can't just walk around like this. Everybody of us, each and everyone has to go down to a squat position and then move forward, right? Because we want to sneak onto the animal. We can't just burst in because the animal runs away. So then the four of us have to cock back our arm and throw the spear. So every one of us needs explosive strength and explosive power to throw the spear and then hit the animal and hopefully pierce the skin. If it doesn't, we have to cock back again. Boom. All right. So what happens then? The animal charges at us, worst case. So we have to defend ourselves even harder and run around. Or maybe the animal runs away. So then we have to follow the animal. And then again, it's not just walking. And none of us can say, hey, bro, I don't do cardio, right? Like we talked about the last time, Michael. We have to be fit. So then we go grab the animal. We have to chop it up. And then we have to carry it on our backs and run back to camp. And at the same time, we have to fend off predators that are coming, or maybe another tribe who wants to take what we have now just earned. So what does that require? This requires endurance. This requires strength, explosiveness. We got to be fast. It just requires everything what the human body can do. And with this in mind, I stumbled over this. I think I read it in a Men's Health article, and I've implemented this, and I fell in love with it. They call it the contrast method. So what you do is you load a very heavy lift, and with me having my own gym and access to it, I load a very heavy bench or a very heavy squat. And then I do an EMOM method, so it's 1 rep with the bench. I do odd and even. So odd, I have 1 rep with the bench, and then 4 burpees. So boom, the timer starts. I do 1 heavy rep, boom, rack the bell, and then I do 4 burpees. Then I go over to the rack, and then I do a very heavy squat that's very exhaustive. Come back up, boom, rack the barbell, and again, I do burpees. And I do this for 15 times, so 15 EMOMs. And in the 15th minute, the EMOM, I mix both. So it's 1 heavy bench and 1 heavy squat. And then with 8 burpees. And then in the second part, I do the jerk. So if I pick up the double 32s, it's like these things are almost killing me. But I get used to it to a certain extent. So then it's 4 jerk and 4 burpee. And then it's 4 rows and 4 burpee. Again, in this odd and even method. And this has worked so well for me that I now can fairly well lift double 28s at a very decent speed. Not, of course, kettlebell sport level and not 10-minute level because that's not my goal. But I felt how these heavy lifts, the heavy bench and the heavy squat, really translated into the normal work that I do with some jerks and long cycle and stuff and everything because I just love these lifts. And I think the last time we talked about this, Michael, when we talked about how do you actually incorporate strength work into your sport or maybe your everyday fitness, whatever you want to do, without what you said, overloading the system, or maybe even becoming too strong for your sport, right? Because you don't just want to get a max PR heavy deadlift in your GPP and then jump up to the bells if you do kettlebell sport, because this might mess with your system. You have to properly load it. Am I right?
Absolutely. This is the basic periodization. And periodization is not periodization, it's more of prioritization, where you understand what you're loading, like what is your goal. Because you can do everything, but not anything. You can do anything, but not everything. Okay, at once, meaning. So, and this is what hybrid athleticism is all about. It's not that you cannot mix those things, because this is what I do. It's what you mix, what you load more and what you load less. And you feel completely fine about it, because people, we are very scared to let go of things. in order to gain something else. Okay, like, all right, I have my 10 minutes with 24s, and I'm so scared to lose it that I'm kind of stuck in this world of 10 minutes and kettlebell work that I cannot afford myself just to leave the bells for 1 year, half year, couple of months, and just do a basic barbell work or go running or go whatever, do rock lifting, and then come back and rebuild it. And people who know what athletic, like what is correct programming and preparation is, like people who went through it, understand that you can pick a bells after a pretty long time that you didn't, and within 12 weeks, you will be in pretty good place. So you didn't need to lose this time, as you said, Gregory, sorry, as you said, Gregory, about constantly like this 1 hour in the gym doing kettlebell lifts and then doing the machines, and like no, if you like, fine. If you don't,
also why I think I love combining the clubs maces category of
mace is amazing, yeah,
with bags with kettlebells. And on a podcast I did recently, someone asked me what kind of training makes me feel the best. And it's when I combine throwing mechanistic training like clubs and bells, clubs and maces, with grinding work like carrying the kill back to the back to our tribe, sandbag carry, sandbag over shoulders and sandbag laps and sandbag lifts, with the muscular strength or strength endurance and cardio, kettlebell sport and that sort of stuff. That's when I feel the best, is whether it's EMOM style, minute of throwing type stuff, minute of grind, minute of kettlebells. So you're going clubs and maces, sandbags and kettlebells. When you combine those training modalities and really engage with your nervous system the way that it's supposed to have been developed, the way you're supposed to train. And I will change. Some days the heavy implement is the bag, other days the heavy implement is the mace, other days the heavy implement is the kettlebell, but the other two stay moderate or light, and you undulate for your nervous system in that way. I probably only pick up my heaviest sandbag once every 2 weeks because the nervous system needs time to recover. It's way over my body weight. It's almost double my body weight, my heaviest bag. Otherwise, I try and move bodies around. So that 85 kilo, that's just over my body weight. The kettlebells is my moderate weight, and the lighter stuff is the throwing mechanistic type things with maces and clubs. But I've never felt better than when combining those three elements in my training.
That's a good point. That's a good point about feeling better. It's just a completely different feeling that you get when you incorporate or start incorporating just ballistic work, for that matter. I just talked to Angie about it. The level of fitness, the level of mobility, the level of being able to do stuff where you feel like you're incorporating your whole body, everything, and not just doing a monotonous this or that, which, nothing wrong with it. But if your whole body has to work, and I always say this, what I love about the ballistic is it's an unpredictable part of training. So it's not like a dynamic lift that you can control on the way up and down, but the ballistics require you to have a fine-tuned understanding of the weight flying at you, right? The inertia and everything that comes with it. That's why it takes so long to learn it. That's why when you have a beginner cleaning at 16 or 20, 12 for the first time, it's everywhere, because it's this unpredictable element that your body has to get used to. And I can attest to this, that feeling the way I feel compared to 10 years ago when I was doing only gym work, it's completely different. I know I can bust out a 5K run anytime without really focusing on running. I know I won't be the fastest, of course, but I know I can bust it out. And I feel when I walk with people, and when we walk, Angie and I, we have a very brisk pace. Or when I walk with other people, I feel like they already start breathing heavily because they try to follow our pace. And I'm not even walking fast by intention. It's just the way I walk, of course, depending on who I walk with, right? It's normal. But it's just understanding that my body has built, I love the way you describe it, Glenn. It's everything, all the physical qualities that your body is capable of producing or engaging into. This is what I want to engage myself into as well. It's not just building muscle and then be happy with it and let it go, and then be like bring it up again with the cardio thing, right? I hate cardio. Cardio is now not even a question anymore because it's always built into the system that I train with.
Yeah.
It's right. The whole body has to work. And one thing that I also realized is I love the sweating aspect of training. I didn't have this when I was in the gym lifting weights. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, boom, 1 minute rest. All right. But with the way I train, and what I especially love is loading a heavy prowler sled and then pushing and pulling. One of the most basic skills, you don't need any skill. Even the most conditioned people can do this, which we also, most of the time people who get started, they start just pushing and pulling the sled. And a very heavy sled push and pull for like 10 minutes. I love this. It's a little bit monotonous, but I've fallen in love with it.
I really, what Glenn said, and this is something to be addressed because it's not addressed enough. We are in generally deaf to what our body try to tell us, because it always speaks, and it's the same with food. Like if you listen carefully, like close enough, you will understand that you're thirsty, you need carbs, or you need your proteins, whatever. And with physical training, if you are intimate enough with your own self, and intimacy is a concept that deserves its own, I believe, hour of conversation. If you're intimate with your body will tell you, it will whisper, you need cardio. You need the aerobic system to work. And you're like, nope, whatever, whatever you love to do. All right. And sometimes your body will begin to ache at some joints, and it will hint you that, man, you need the basic barbell because you just need to be strong. Not uneven, not dysfunctional exercises, okay, not the cross lateral strengths. It's great. I need the basic functional loading of lateral exercises, heavily structured with resting period for quite some times, and then I will allow you to go and do and have fun that you want to do. All right? But help me to help you, because the only thing you won't divorce is me. All right? You are stuck with me for the rest of your life. All right? And it's up to you how well you want your life to be. So, and people are desperately trying not to. And sometimes it's about mobility, okay? Like we see like people move in some, awkward way, the crawling stuff, okay? Take away this choreographic hype. And suddenly, like, you feel that you want to, climb a tree, and you want to climb a rope. And it's like a kid, but I want, and you drag the kid back, and you sit and okay, do the bench. And, all right?
do the basic lifts.
Yeah.
Stop climbing up the tree, you idiot.
Yeah, like be an adult, squat. Okay. All right?
Like Mark Ripito style, like squat. Lose a hip drive.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Which is great, and
it's great,
and really being like intimate and addressing this is what basically, again, we are coming to the basic concept of periodization, and you can periodize. Like periodization is not about sport; it's about having different seasons in your life, like seasons in nature.
It's a great concept.
You can do one type of training depending on the country that you live in. You can train by seasons of nature. In summer,
I love that.
Go climb, go lift rocks, go trail running, because this is the only time that you will have without rain, snow, etc.
Yeah.
When it's too cold, go and do some heavy lifting.
That's good.
Like huge heavy. In the meantime, you can have some conditioning, and you can run like the whole system of training around the seasons, because seasons also affect your cognitive state, your psychological state, and your neurological state.
Right.
And people don't think about these types. Okay, no wonder that in winter you're feeling like down. if it's heavy winter. It's dark, it's a different mood, okay? It's a different psychology, it's a different rhythm. And like sometimes you feel like picking up a fight because you're pissed out of no reason, like, but something, yeah, like, and like doing some, battle ropes is the last fucking thing I want to do.
Yeah.
All right. I
I'm
want to
gonna-
lie under a fucking heavy bench and like, and come relax and nice. And in summer, the last thing I want to do is to get a heavy squat because I can do whatever, right? Street workouts. And this is a great point of really, like Glenn said, listening to your own body. Okay, like this is, I have kids. Okay, and like only people who have kids can understand people who have kids. Right? Period. You are in a very interesting psychological state that your training must be coherent and must lift you up. Otherwise, you will ruin everything, including for your kids. All right. So, and you cannot force it.
Well, there's so many things I want to jump off and talk about, but I'm going to have to go because my kids need me for dinner.
All right.
Just before I go, I just wanted to say one thing about, there's so many things that you said that I think would deserve, like you said, a whole podcast. But intimacy is so important. I don't like trackable, wearable tech, because it creates a disconnect between people understanding what they're actually feeling, and they refer back to the watch like it's in charge, like it knows them better than they know them, despite the fact that the data actually shows that anecdotal reporting of how well you think you slept is as accurate as what the watch is telling you. I don't like the wearable tech. I think it creates this divide between people really understanding what their body needs or what it feels like, and what the data is saying. But anyway, that aside, I have to leave you guys today. I'm sorry to dip in and dip out. I'm going to run.
Totally fine.
And hopefully we do this again and can
Until the next time.
Of course we will.
Training in relation to kids and
Bye, Glenn.
all that stuff. Lovely to meet you, Yanni. And
Bye bye, Glenn.
Yes,
Gregory will do this soon.
Most
Likewise,
definitely.
sir.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Awesome. See, and that's why I do this, right? I mean, this, if you have time or not, doesn't matter. You jump in for a couple of minutes, and that I think that's one of the major reasons why I do this. I learned so much from these conversations with you guys, from people from all around the world, and that's why I enjoy having these conversations, which I believe, maybe I hope you too, because it is something that you can't talk about with everybody. It is, right? It's a topic that we all share, that we all love. And sometimes you can share it in a way that is fulfilling, because most of the time you are in that vertical stance of you are up here and you have to talk to the crowd, and not in a disrespectful way, looking down, but you have to grab down and lift folks up, and then you have to explain and you have to make them understand. And what I love about this podcast is really just trainers getting together, having great conversations about training. I really appreciate it. And I love the way Glenn has he's from the UK, and you feel the way he expresses himself. He reminds me of Steve Carter. Steve Carter has this way of expressing himself with armor-piercing cues, with he has very awesome conversational skills, which I'm always trying to imitate when I hear people who have the gift of gab, and they know how to have a conversation, and they make their thoughts known with these precise little sentences. This is something that I strive towards too. It's not easy to do, especially if English is your second language, which is, I think, is for every one of us, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Hey, Yanni, Yanni, we don't want to leave you outside the circus, right? Hey,
No.
Feel free
I'm
to jump
enjoying
in.
the conversation. Yeah, for sure.
all right.
So I want to just a little thing about the wearables, and I muted a lot. I don't know how is it in the rest of the world, but people like let's leave beside this responsibility, because again, it's a huge topic to discuss, but people over rely on wearables. And the whole point, and I had a discussion with the rider, we did a trail biking ride, and he began to talk about you need to like the chest strap because it's accurate and everything. And I said, listen, the goal of wearables and like of all accessories is like a stock market. You want to observe the tendency of your progress. I don't care about my BPMs. If it's 160 on 162 on 158, I'm not about to be shot in space. Like there, it's important, all right? Come on. What I'm interested about, if tomorrow when I run, my BPM is lower, yes, this is a proof of progress. I run longer, my heart rate becomes lower. I don't care how accurate it is. This is all I need to know, and this is what this watch is for. If I wake up or whatever and I see or I run, my BPM is higher, I understand that something with my resting, okay, my adaptation, my overloading, okay, I need to like pay close attention. This is the only thing it tells me. Not how well I slept. No, like I know how well I slept. I don't need a watch to tell me that. All right.
Yeah, but some people get motivated by this. I had someone
Good point.
who had this watch Garmin, I think,
Yeah.
from 2010, and he has all the data on his phone from 2010, like how he slept, how he trained, about how, like everything that changed physiologically in his body is in his phone. Like you can understand his life from looking at the data in his phone. That's from the watch. He's he's yeah.
Yeah, no, please continue. Sorry.
No, he's so obsessed with numbers. Like every time he trains, okay, he immediately after finishing, he immediately looks how many calories he burned. So this kind of guy, like he can't train if he like he never forgets it. But if let's say if he forgets his watch, he cannot train. I don't think he can train.
Wow.
And do you think that's a rather, you said it's motivating, right? Do you think it's all
For him, yes.
and at the same time it also sounds like he's already he's addicted to it, right? He can't do anything. So it is motivating, yet at the same time I have this principle. I have the watch, which the reason why I have it, which I think it's 5 years old. I never opted in for the newest generation, like Apple Watch 10, or it's like what? It does the same thing. It's but that's another topic, right? The way how technology moves forward, and probably next year you're able to take your watch that can cook you dinner or whatever. This is so massive how technology is moving forward. But I use it to count my steps. I use it, which I think is something I always strive to get between 10 to 15,000. And sometimes when I'm below, I don't even really care. But it's just something that I keep track a little bit, but I always take it off when I train. I don't like it if I have something foreign attached to my body, because it's like you said, Michael, if my goal is to optimize for performance, and we are trying to go into every nook and cranny so that I can maximize every little morsel of performance that is in my body, we maybe have to look at rest. What's your BPM like when you wake up, and all these certain aspects? What was your training like? What was your BPM, and is your BPM going down in the training? Is your cardiovascular system catching up? How well is it catching up? How fast? I get that. If I'm totally in performance mode and we want to use everything at our disposal to optimize, yes. But 99% of people are not athletes, and we just train to sustain. So in that case, I am not against wearables, but this is why I love the kettlebell. Even though some of our clients, they carry it, I'm always saying take it off. But some of our clients, they somehow manage it. They have it like this, or somehow, because I tell them, listen, it messes with your clean, it messes with your stats and everything. Yeah, but all right, so go ahead, do you if you enjoy it. But I don't really like it. I don't like the wearable thing for training. I like it when I'm completely freed up.
You have, for these people, actually, you have a forearm stripe
Yeah,
that
yeah.
goes
Up
on the
here
forearm.
or
Yeah, and it
here.
measures
Yeah.
your pulse, and you can see it afterwards in your mobile phone. So, you need to write Gregory, you need to write a topic of rigidity to talk about, because, and as Yanni said, the clock, like the watch, is motivational indeed. When you see the data, it pushes you. You open your, clock training diary. You see like everything you did. You see, wow. So I'm all that, and it pumps you up. Now, when it comes, and many people cannot deal with it well, and it always comes when your state, because you are an organic creature, and wearables or all the digital devices are not organic, all right? You sometimes don't match the data, because by the data you're supposed to run at this pace, at this heart rate, and it's not happening. And worse even, you have run in this pace, in this heart rate, but today, like a week, like it's almost like only a week after, and you can, and people go crazy, all right? And they just cannot handle it well.
Yeah.
And this is the concept of rigidity, of understanding, because we are really beginning to be alienated
We're
with
AI. We turn into
ourselves.
AIs. Yeah, yeah. We turn into machines. It's the Matrix.
I wish.
Yeah, yeah. From a negative perspective.
Yeah,
It's
have you
the
seen?
Matrix. It's Skynet.
Listen, we are
100%.
in Matrix a long time ago, but again, like too many doors are open now. But
Yeah, yeah.
it's fine. We can do it a
We
weekly
can take
show.
it everywhere. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we can do it a weekly show, like weekly roundtable
Yeah,
talk.
yeah.
But if you've seen the movie Surrogates, I believe is with Bruce Willis, where people were kind of downloading their identity, their soul into machines. So you're like sitting at home wearing these masks, like an AI, and there is a machine living your life. And like the movie is amazing. The message is scary, because I believe the moment the scientists find a way that you can download your personality into the robot, people will do it immediately. Because, come on, the body is the body. You need to deal with all unpleasant stuff that goes on in this physical world. But if you can transform it to machine, to be always beautiful, sexy, you don't need to train, because it's the machine. You are always strong, you're always primed. This concept is scary to think about. And we are really getting alienated from ourselves. Like the watch is right, my inner feelings are wrong, all right? And like we often feel stuff, and we know that it's wrong, but we prefer to listen to whatever, just not to ourselves, and we always regret it, all
It's
right?
it's fascinating that you mentioned, Yanni, this person, because I know somebody who's like that too. Not that intense maybe, but it is the tendency to depend upon an outward mechanism to dictate your life. And I think it maybe boils down to how human beings are wired, that we want to, we don't like responsibility. And I'd like to give it to politician X, Y, and Z. Even though they lied to me for 1,000 times, I still want to give them a responsibility because I don't like it. So if I don't have this little machine, right, this variable tech that tells me how did I perform, how did I do, what was my BPM, while I see most definitely the concept behind it and I enjoy it, it's the same with social media. Us human beings, we're always bastardizing and we always abuse any new type of idea or system that comes our way. We can't just leave it at a certain point and say, all right, topic, for example, Ozempic and Wegovy. We talked about food, right? So a couple of our clients, they're on Ozempic, and one of our clients is on Wegovy. And we had this, and for those of you who don't know, this is the it's this new type of medicine, which one of our
Yeah,
clients,
I know.
right? One of our clients was in the pilot study of 2018 of Ozempic, and he was 160 kg body weight, so that's over 300 pounds. He was morbidly obese, and he lost 80 kilograms, so 160 pounds. And he's always been an awesome guy, but now he's like, wow, he half the size. He lost me, right? He lost a whole human being in weight. And Ozempic, I think it was the initial study, and he was in the pilot study. It helped him because what Ozempic did in his case, and this is what they found out. That's why I believe it has valid reasons to take that medication, because it repairs, or I don't know how it exactly works, but it does. Your body stops sabotaging yourself, because obese people tend to have a hormone disposition or disease where the hormones leptin, ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and the appetite, the satiety hormones are completely messed up, and these people have a disposition to then accumulate fat because their hormones are messed up. Of course, there's many things that work with obesity. I'm not trying to just put it down into this one formula, but he had such great success. And I think the medication makes sense for people who are morbidly obese, BMI 45, really very, very, very fat, right? Where these people really need help. It's not just training and diet. Yes, if they eat less, yes, they lose fat too. Yes, if they train, it helps them too, but they need something. Some of these people need something to support their bodies to stop sabotaging them. So from that perspective, I see 100%. But what do human beings do? As soon as they hear about a drug that takes care of your hunger and appetite, what do we do? Oh, I got 10 kilograms to lose. Let me go grab that Ozempic. And this is where I draw the line and say, bro, you just need some discipline. This is a medication for people who suffer, who have a chronic condition, not for people who are lazy and don't want to do the work. And this is where I draw the line in the sand, right? Because if it's just 5 kg or 10 kg, this is possible. This is possible. It takes work.
This is what most people are doing. Those who are taking
exactly.
Ozempic.
Exactly. This is what most people are wanting. It's that crowd that we serve most of the time who just want to lose a couple of kilos. But these are the folks who then take that drug. Same with steroids, who are for cancer patients, right? Or for AIDS patients. But the bodybuilders take it to build muscle. So we are always bastardizing technology, medication, everything that we can get our hands on. And then kettlebells, fitness, you name it, right? CrossFit, people almost dying because they're overdoing it. Kettlebells, people going balls to the walls with kettlebells, hurting themselves, not knowing how to use it because we bastardize the tool and we don't understand how to use a common sense approach.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, and yeah, it's a big topic.
That's a big topic.
Like, talking about human nature and running to the drugs, but but it has broad application, because we can talk about Ritalin and parents who don't want to do their work. So it's very easy to drug your kid. All right, like it's easy for me to become a victim and to become this, hurt or being on medication, because it will give me the outside validity for people not saying me, you just lazy. All right, like, get your ass off. Like, no, he's special. He takes drugs. He has his condition. Okay, psychology is striving because people don't want to solve problems. They want to feel good about the problems, because problem helps them to retain the place that they are. Because most of the things are solvable in almost like this, all right, on many levels. But no. And hard work, not hard work. It is a big topic, but medication, everything, same as with accessories. Okay, like, because I measure my heart rate old school, 2 fingers, okay, multiply by 6, I know where I am. But it needs for me to reconnect and to talk with myself and to be with myself. And here's the watch tells me so. What can we do?
100% agree. 100%.
Yep.
So for the last couple of minutes, guys, let's talk a little bit about. I mean, I'm not Yanni. You train normal people, right? People want to get in shape, and right. This is your main clientele, and Micah, your main clientele is also the average Joe, or is it rather athletes?
No. The average Joe.
The average Joe.
The
right.
absolute
Right.
rehabilitation, or the average people, like the average folks that just coming for.
Who want to get in shape and get
search
healthy.
for and search for some other stuff.
Yeah. And they look for the magic bullet, like everybody does. So how do you handle it? Because this is the food issue, and food and training. How do you guys tackle this issue with your clients? Because most of the time, Yanni, you said this, right? These are the clients who come to us for help. And by the way, before I jump into this topic, I saw a great post from the Wandering Girevik. The guy's a monster. He lifts it's like Anthony Manco grabbing like double 64s, and, right?
Wandering Girevik. I know this guy. What's his name?
Yeah, Wandering. I don't know. It's the Instagram handle, Wandering Girevik, and I gave him a follow. This dude lifts heavyweights. Like he's almost like Rhino Strength. Rhino Strength also.
Oh.
He juggles with 64s and stuff.
Let me check.
Yeah, this guy is so crazy. And the Wandering Girevik, he said something. He said many trainers I'm rephrasing the way I understood it. Sometimes us trainers, we are using tactics that are meant for athletes with the average people, right?
Absolutely.
And it is the
Okay, I know who you're talking about.
right, yeah. And it is the base of lots of training programs where they promise you the magic bullet or the silver bullet with the one exercise that will turn you into a blah, blah, blah. You know it, right? And how do you tackle this with the client who is confused, right? Because let's face it, the fitness industry is a confusing jungle, the way you look at it. Even if you do your own research, this guy says this guy says that. So how do you guys tackle this with your clients? And what would be the some great recommendations that you have for folks who are listening?
The problem is, like, I don't really ask them about their food intake, because they, like, how can I say it? I cannot control it, and some of them don't want to control it, and they think that they can eat whatever they want and come to the gym and then everything is fixed. And sometimes they feel guilty about it. They said, this past weekend, I ate 2 burgers and pizza and I feel bad about it and stuff. And then they come and train, they know that they did wrong, and the next week they do it again. So this is something I don't think I can control. And maybe this is what's keeping them sane. Like, okay, I come and train all this week. I wake up early, or I come after my work. I'm really exhausted. So they're doing an effort to come and train. And maybe this is how they, how they feel good, it's a treat for them. Okay, I trained, I came, I did all this effort, I trained all this week, I deserve this. Mm-hmm. I deserve to eat fast food. And then they come again, this is good for my business. But, if you see, for example, it's not going to appear in the camera. But here, for example, I have mirrors. But these mirrors, like, I've put them from the beginning, and they're kind of bumpy, a little bit. So for us men, we don't really care about details. So we barely notice if a mirror makes you fat or not, But when a woman comes to the gym and looks at the mirror, oh my God, am I really that fat? You know, I told them, I always tell them, so this is, I did this for a reason.
I have a
for you
bumpy
to,
mirror.
No, not a bumpy mirror. I did it on purpose. So you always see yourself fat and you need to train, you know.
That, that's tough love. That's like I got a mirror that makes you look bad, so you always have a reminder to come back.
To come back to train.
No, I'm in the wrong business.
That's retention. That's interesting.
I'm going to sell mirrors from this day on.
Me too. Me too.
Fuck this
Slimming
shit.
and
I'm
fattening
going to sell
mirrors.
for personal trainers.
I love this.
You
know, most people. I mean, most people have just a mirror in the gym so people can see themselves. But Yanni's like, nah, man. I'm gonna take this to the next level. I want you guys to look at yourself in the mirror and then feel bad, so that you sign up and come back.
But you know, this is what they do. And like, if you go to a clothes store, you have, so here you have a bumpy mirror that makes you short and fat. But at the, if you go to buy clothes, they have a concave, so which makes you slim and tall.
Yeah.
So whatever you wear, you will look good.
I think they use the same type of mirror in some fast food joints where they make donuts. Dunkin' Donut has this one mirror with a big curve in it. And then you look at the donut, you're like, ooh, that looks delicious. And you think, wow, that's a big donut. And so she pulls it from the behind the desk, she takes it, she gives it to you like, oh, that's a small one because of the curved mirror. It looks way bigger.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's like this business is all about marketing, and some people try to take advantage of or abuse other people just to for their own benefit. So I try my best. For example, these days, I used to listen to my clients. For example, if I when you introduce kettlebells to new people who are new to fitness. So I don't start their programs with kettlebells. I start with, for example, deadlifts and the strength stuff that are easy to control, not ballistic moves like the swing. Or when I see that they're ready to start doing swings, I introduce it, and then I introduce the clean. So some people get over the pain, the forearm pain, because when you start doing cleans, of course, you're going to do like a couple of 10, 20 bad reps that are going to hurt your forearm. And then you learn with the practice how to do it right. But so back in the days, so when someone says, oh, it's painful, I want to stop, I don't want to train with kettlebells, I used to listen to them. Now I'm obliging them. So I teach them okay, if you do the swing, you're going to stay here. You're going to do, okay, we have this, you have this type of training. But if you learn the clean, so now we can do the clean, we can do squats with the clean, we can do lunges, we can do press after the clean. Now we have more variety of exercises. And then I teach them the snatch when they're ready to learn the snatch. So I'm trying to make their workouts be challenging and fun. This is what I'm trying to focus on more these days, because if they want to train, lose weight or whatever, or strength or bodybuilding, they can go to any other trainer. But since I'm the one who started kettlebells in Lebanon, or it's my specialty, so you're coming to me to train with kettlebells. And why not try to train with this amazing equipment that you can do strength, you can do endurance, you can do power, you can do everything with a kettlebell. So this is my main focus. I cannot control what they eat. I cannot. We have a dietitian. I cannot. She takes care of this stuff, because I know at the end of the day they will go and eat whatever they want. And if because I'm a trainer, if I become how to say it, if I keep asking them about, oh, what did you eat? Are you taking care of your food intake? Blah blah blah. They're gonna start lying at me. You know, so I prefer not to go into whatever their diet is composed of. So that's it.
What do you think,
You're
Michael?
absolutely right. We cannot control, um, and like on my part, what I'm doing is immediately, same as Yanni said, like I do many stuff, but I'm not a dietitian. So you cannot outtrain a bad diet. And like if you came to me for my like specialties, nutrition is not one of them. So I cannot help you in this. I know dietitians because like I'm good at what I do, and there are people who good at what they do. Please, all right?
Yeah.
I am going to a dietitian. If I need, I have my dietitian. I call, I advise, all right? It's fine. It's not that I don't know. I, like as always, I want to put myself out of this equation. But I tell them two sentences, like most often. One is, if you want to train like a horse, you need to eat like a horse. So, like, your nutrition must reflect the level of your physical activity. Now, how many days you train? What, one? You train twice? Like, do you really need to change something? And, you know, it makes them think, or it makes them rethink the concept because, as again, Yanni said, and we talked about it like often, the industry has many flaws, unfortunately, as it uses people to take money out of their pockets. This is the facts. This is what we like. All right, this is the world. Come on. All right, we have 4 seasons. Like every industry eventually cares about an industry. All right. And they've been sold this dream that the moment that you do physical activity, you immediately like burn 1,000 calories. All right. No, you didn't. Like I trained, like I have 9 sessions per week, but I don't burn what you think I burn.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm a patient, you know, blah, blah, blah. So they begin kind of to rethink. I said, listen, like, it's like change nothing. If you want to deal with this food diaries, I can help you, but I have a better solution if you're ready for it. This is what I tell the students and say, like, yeah, what is it? Sign up for an event. You put your balls on the line. Let's sign up for an event. You want to run? I can prep you. You want to swim? I can prep you. Want kettlebells? Sign up. You know what will happen? Say, no, what? First of all, you will have the date, and it can be far, that you must deliver. Regardless of what's happening, you must be there. And then the wonderful thing will happen. When you have a specific goal that you're moving towards, you will suddenly begin to feel that your nutrition does not sustain your goal.
That's good.
And you're self-sabotaging yourself because, oh, I ate this. It was fun. But tomorrow that you need to train to your goal, you feel empty. You feel dead. You feel heavy. You have nausea. And then this relationship, this inner reflection happens and you're thinking, like, damn, this is not right. So next time it's like the hamburger and like, you know, the rice and the chicken, and you're like the hamburger, but I have my workout and I have my goal, like screw it, like let me stuff on the rice. So they begin to self-regulate to some extent, right? Because they have an immediate feedback. I ate, I drank, and tomorrow I am a complete shit in the gym. My numbers are low. I cannot run. I fart. I whatever. I drown. Like, no, really. Right? I rang the
100%.
bells and it's immediately, you know, blah, the response. You go to the bathroom like ever. And then when you begin to like, and we reflect, the only thing is what you ate. Nothing have changed dramatically.
Yeah.
And then people thinking, oh, say like, please, like this is your proof. And then they try to eat something. Sorry, Gregory, just they begin to eat a little bit differently, a different food choice, and suddenly they're training like they feel like, ooh. So, right? Like now, make your choices. You have a date. We are working towards the date. I will drag you kicking and screaming. You will be ready toward the dates because this is what my job is. I'm your coach. You make an adult responsible choices about your food, and most of them who do sign up slowly begin to deviate and understand the understanding, and the fun is there, but they're more responsible. So like this is what I found out working the best. Otherwise, like if you don't have a clear goal, like I can have a scotch tonight, it's fine. Tomorrow I'm just, doing something, I'll do something.
You're confirming, the both of you are confirming two things for me. First of all, understanding that we are trainers and not dietitians. And I did a big education in nutrition wise that took me 2 years. And then I kind of like focused to blend these things together until I realized that, wow, this for most people, it just that doesn't cut it. And giving people in the hands of, even if it's a great app, which I believe Noom is, giving people over into or making sure that you are, listen, this is what I do, right? And you need this too, but I can do it, but I'm not that good at it. So I refer you out, or we're going to use something different. So it's just confirmation, because so many trainers, right, do this. They think, okay, I got the nutrition down pat. Now I got the mobility. Then I got to do some physio stuff. Then I got to do some strength stuff. Then I got to do some muscle building stuff. And at the end, you're spread so thin, you're very wide, but you're not deep, right? So
I'd like everywhere to be, and you are nowhere.
Exactly. And this is such an interesting take, because I'm realizing this the more I work with people, the more I realize, listen, we gotta even laser focus even more on what we're good at, and make sure we have this, right, this tunnel vision where you listen, this is what we're good at, but you're here, either I can't help you or I'm gonna refer you out. That's one thing. And the second thing is this goal setting. And I mentioned the dojo, right, the kettlebell dojo in the middle of the conversation. And here's where I came up with this idea, because in the dojo I thought about, this belt system. And since martial artists love kettlebells, I'm like, let's start with the belt system. Because kettlebells are very adjacent to martial arts. And some of the folks, they really like it. They're like, wow, yeah, I got now a white belt, and I've got the yellow belt, the orange belt. And here's the thing, they always have to do a belt test. So once you achieve the next level, you have to do this test. You have to film yourself. You have to share it in the community. And then you have to pass it. And it's very simple stuff. But everybody does it. It's like that clear goal. All right, so now I am a blue belt. This is a test. So I have to do it. And this clear goal setting, this making people aware of, all right, let's get you started. You sign up for the program. So in 6 weeks, what is it going to be? On day X, when you have to perform or step on a scale or whatever it is, what is it? What is it? What are we going to do? All right, you want to perform here? You want to do this? All right, let's focus on that one date and get you prepped for that one date, right? So on one hand, this goal setting works very well, yet at the same time, we also have to make clear that this fitness and nutrition thing is a lifelong journey, right? It's not, all right, so I performed. Thank you, Coach Michael. Sayonara. See you next year. You see the guy or the gal next year, gained 10 kg. Hey, what happened? Oh, after that performance, I was completely destroyed, bro, And so it's always like, it is this, you walk in a tightrope of giving people clear goals that are achievable and attainable to keep them motivated, while at the same time, especially since I believe you guys too probably work with over 40s and over 50s and over 60s, most cases in our the demographics of our clients. Yes, they want short-term goals, but you have to make clear, listen, if you don't want this on and off life, this has to fit into your everyday life. Kettlebells have to, and that's why kettlebells are so awesome, right? Yanni, you said it. It's that one little tool that it's a little bit of endurance, a little bit of muscle building, a little bit of strength, a little bit of coordination. It's your own gym. It's a couple of exercises. It's at arm's reach, right? Your kids can watch you while you train, right? So everybody, it's easy, accessible, and that's what makes it so powerful. And I had so many conversations with clients and even coaches where it is that clear, what's the word? This misunderstanding or this dichotomy, it's a better word. Understanding how effective the kettlebell really is, yet at the same time, kettlebells are completely ignored by the fitness industry. I was at FIBO 2024. That's the biggest fitness expo in Germany, in Cologne. We were there. They had kettlebells, but only for decorative purposes. Nobody on God's green earth cares about kettlebells. And that I was so frustrated about this, and that's why I do what I do. Because it's just, while I think kettlebell sport is awesome, it's way too hardcore for 99% of people. So my goal is to make it accessible. And it's so frustrating that such an effective tool is still in the dungeon somewhere in the basement of the fitness industry.
It really
this
is
so frustrating, right? And everybody confirms this that I talk to, while at the same time, if you're on Instagram, the kettlebell bubble, you think everybody lifts with kettlebells. Isn't that awesome? Yeah. Nobody! Nobody!
No.
All right, everybody snatches 32s. Nobody does this. And it's so frustrating to me. It's such an effective tool, especially for that age group. And still, the gyms reign supreme with these monotonous, stupid machines that are built for. I'm getting a see my blood pumping through my neck. But this is so. It's just frustrating. It's infuriating. No disrespect towards machines. It's all fine. But come on, man. Swing.
You pay $5,000 to buy one machine to do leg extension.
Exactly. Listen, at FIBO, Gym 80, Techno Gym, Precor, all these big machine production companies. And then you walk a little bit past the booth, you see the Chinese who manufacture that BS for the big companies over there who act like, yo, we invented the blah, 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 blah. And the Chinese sitting over there have the same barbell, the same weight plates, the same dumbbells, right? So these guys produce it. So the market is the fitness industry consists out of the typical gym narrative. That is machines and cardio BS. And when you try to introduce kettlebells to normal folk, they're like, what is this? And this is one of the reasons why I do what I do. Because running, like, 30 years ago, when you ran across the street, people were like, what's wrong with you? Or 50 years, or 60 years ago, what's wrong with you? I'm training, what? And so this is what we have to do. We have to make this thing more accessible because it is so effective. And over 40s, 50s, and 60s, they gravitate towards it. But still, the fitness industry doesn't care, which is really frustrating. At my rant.
You know, today I gave 3 hours masterclass for trainers. Okay, I work with an institution who gives who teaches personal training. Like they give this ERATs, they can train internationally. So they have these people. They do workshops every now and then. So one of the workshops is kettlebells. So I give the workshop at this institution. I always give, for example, 4 hours workshop. It's about fitness, nothing related to sports. About fitness because the majority are trainers, so they need to use the fitness exercises to train their clients. I don't think their clients will be interested in spending hours to learn the swing, the gear voice swing, or the snatch, So the majority of them, they just come for the certification or certificate. They don't. So today I did a master class about program design, how you can create workouts for your clients. So when we started the workshop, I told them that you already took workshops with me. So this is not a workshop. I'm not going to teach you anything. I'm not going to teach you anything new. I'm not going to teach you technique. I'm just going to teach you how to write a program and how to, like how you can combine a couple of exercises and do a very nice workout with like a very effective workout with 3 or 4 exercises, how you can combine. So we went through EMOMs, AMRAPs, Tabata, whatever. But when we started, these people, I noticed that they just came for the workshop for the certificate. They didn't train. So when they started, I was like, people, I'm not here to teach you again. I'm not giving you another workshop. I'm here to teach you something else. I'm not going to pass through like everyone and tell them how to do the swing again, how to do the clean again, how to do the Turkish garab, how to do this and this and this. You must already know how to use this. But the majority is interested in building muscle and shapes and stuff, which bodybuilding can do better than kettlebells. Like they go to like, why to do squats if we have leg extension machine? I sit and I train my leg without doing all the effort and put a barbell on my back, you know. So yeah. So the problem is with the trainers. Like even here, SFG is well known, and we all know that SFG is maybe it's the biggest organization that works a lot on their marketing. So they're well known everywhere, and they're so good about marketing and advertising themselves. And even though we have lots of SFG trainers here, we don't have that much people training with kettlebells. It's still something like a taboo, or maybe and people not really interested in kettlebells because they think that, like, for example, one time a friend told me, I told about this guy that I'm going to this gym and train with kettlebells, and the other guy tells him like, kettlebells is for girls, you know, because they have this idea. Most of gyms don't have heavy kettlebells. Like one time I got someone a year ago. Now he's still a member. He came to my gym. He told me, we used to go to this gym, and this trainer we used to train with, we used to take personal training with, traveled, and he recommended you. So we came to train with you, and we love kettlebells. I said, okay, cool. And he said, we used to train with the heaviest kettlebell at the gym. I was okay. Welcome, and come check the place. So when he came in, I have from 4 kilos to 92 kilos. So the 24 is not even halfway, you know. So when he looked at the kettlebells, he did this. Like, you can't tell me you're training with heavy kettlebells and you only have like up to 24 kilos.
A new definition of heavy, right?
So this is, So this is the problem. Also, this is why people like, let's say, strong people or manly people, they look at kettlebells for girls, but because they don't have heavy kettlebells at the gym. They have maybe heavy dumbbells. You can go to any gym and see at least 50 kilo dumbbell, you know, but you can't see a 50 kilo kettlebell. No. Maybe 12 or 16 or even 20, but no one uses the 20 for sure.
Yeah. Many gyms don't even have kettlebells. No.
Yeah, they have the M&Ms, the color.
No, so now I'm working.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, not even the circular ones. They have the rectangle kettlebells, the worst of them all.
Yeah, it's like an imitation, like, you know, but it's not.
It's like the iron we used to.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you iron your shirt with these types of kettlebells, exactly.
One time I went to a gym to give a workshop, and they had this kettlebell. Like you can't even hold like this because it's like the edge of the kettlebell is on your wrist. Like it's so painful.
So stupid.
Like, what the fuck is this?
So stupid.
Yeah.
Agree. See, you're raising so many valuable points. It confirms my suspicion that when you are on social media or on Instagram, you tend to weave yourself into a cocoon and a certain bubble where you only see what you want to see. And this creates this psychological disconnect between you and the reality. So if you're only seeing shredded folk on Instagram, you think everybody's shredded. If you only see kettlebells, or you just follow everybody, all the kettlebell guys and gals, you think everybody lifts with kettlebells. And so that's why I realized, and I realized this a long time ago, when you go to big expos where the whole world comes together, and you see one particular training tool, in our case now the kettlebell, is not represented, it is a sign that the fitness industry does not care. And you mentioned something very interesting, Yanni. So yes, we have all these SFGs, RKC, who cares what institution they came from? You have all these certified coaches, right, in that area, but nobody trains with them, or you only have a couple of people who are really into it. So yes, we have lots of trainers, but people don't train with it. And the fact that our channel has now surpassed 100,000 subscribers on YouTube shows that the market exists. The market is so humongous, the potential is so massive. You just have to market it differently. And that's one of the things that I do. I just want to make it as accessible as possible. I 100% respect your approach, Yanni, with the ballistics and the ideas. Okay, now just do some deadlifts, then some press, then some squat. I do that too. However, what I changed is I immediately, if they are on a certain decent level, even if they are deconditioned, I let them swing immediately. And I want to give them the feeling of the ballistics. The first swings are the worst swings. I get it. But I want them to experience the ballistic element ASAP, because this is the USP of kettlebells. Because everything else you can do with a barbell, with a dumbbell, and all that stuff. But the ballistic movements, that's what people are like, wow, that's different, feels different. It looks completely off. Don't worry. You're comparing my 150,000th swing with your first 5. Of course mine look different, right? Of course, that's normal. But I let them swing immediately. I let them clean immediately. I let them snatch immediately, because I want to take away this mystique from these exercises that, yes, they are hard to learn. Yes, they require skill, but everybody can snatch an 8 kg overhead. Come on, it just takes a little bit of effort, a little bit of energy. And if you're not 100% deconditioned, almost everybody can do it, because injury only happens if load exceeds capacity. Of course, if you let a beginner snatch at 32 kg, you're stupid. I get that. But from the basics, I let everybody jump into the ballistics ASAP, because listen, the kettlebell, and this is what a little bit was fostered by Strong First and RKC and the institutions, like the kettlebell's loaded and watch it, it's dangerous, treat it like a gun, blah, 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 blah. And all that stuff, which sounds sexy for marketing and attracts your ideal client. It attracts the tough guys, the military folks, and all these guys. I get that.
Exactly.
I get that. This is your marketing perspective. For normal people, they think a snatch is like handling a flamethrower to a toddler. If I do it for the first time, I die instantly if I do it wrong, right? So this is where I want to come in and really demystify these exercises, because they're so awesome and you don't have nothing to worry about if you don't use crazy weights, which as a solid trainer you shouldn't even advise for, right?
Absolutely.
Do you know what the problem also is? Sorry. The problem is, I heard it from a couple of people. I'm going to say it online. Some dudes take steroids to pass the tests.
Oh, really? Really?
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
The RKC
Yeah.
Strong First test?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's bad.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Well,
Comes back to the hard work,
I don't know
Michael, right?
if it's everywhere. Yeah, I don't know if it's everywhere like this, but yes, I heard it
Interesting.
that
Interesting.
some people use
Yeah.
some and sometimes not just, I don't know if these are considered steroids, like Deca and
Yeah, they are.
Navar. I don't know if you consider.
Yeah, I think they are. I'm not a professional in that
So
regard.
they take these stuff
I think they are.
to pass the test.
Interesting.
well,
Yeah.
as Yaniv mentioned, and he said it correctly, because I teach in a school that prepares trainers as well. And you see this tendency again that many people don't want the knowledge. They want the paper. They couldn't care less. They're coming, they are, polite enough for you to finish speaking, to finish showing something, but eventually, yeah, like, no, I need the paper. And that's it. And that is the same as with, drugs, because if I only need the paper and not the journey, but of course, I'll, shoot something else, do the 5 minute or whatever set, or like in kettlebell sport, all right? It's okay, it's everywhere, it's legit, it's known, all right? Nobody hides it, it's fine. And like, here are my numbers. All right, if you're like, I don't know. But yeah, it's this, I just want the paper. And it's the same journey as I just want the six-pack. All right, regardless of my abilities, I just want,
But trainers, shouldn't we hold a coach, a trainer who works with people to a higher standard? Where you're like, listen, man.
Yes, we should theoretically, and people buy into this bullshit.
Yeah, I 100% understand it. Sorry, Yanni, I just muted you. Sometimes it's a little bit of background noise, so feel free to turn. Right.
Like, like it's really interesting to see where the industry will go. So I was about to tell you, Gregory, like, do your own convention, kettlebell. I'll come. I'll fly in.
Yeah.
Okay, because FIBO eventually was the equipment, like the fitness big convention.
No. It was not. It was not the equipment. It was not. It was not. No. It was the equipment, but everything else. Influencers, supplements. No. This is, everybody's represented there. Everybody, even the functional folks. Wow. There's a big company. I don't know if you're aware of it. It's called Perform Better.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Perform Better is big on functional. Yanni, feel free to unmute you, right? If you have something to say, right? Just to make sure. And so this is a big functional training company. And yes, they had some kettlebells, but again, for decoration, for show. Maybe they did something with it, and I wasn't there, but I was there on a Sunday. Normally we go on. You have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and normally we go on Thursday or Friday because these are the exhibitors' days where you can go if you're a professional, and then it's not open to the public. But this time I was like, hey, I want to see. I want to see the public, and then it's funny, I crossed the aisles, and some of the folks were like, hey, hip, Gregory from Lemmenstock, kettlebells, yo, what's up? And that was really, really motivating. It's like, okay, it's encouraging, right? People know us. They know what we do. I appreciate that. That's cool. And I wanted to see what it's like. And people show up for their favorite influencers. The kids show up. They all carry the same clothes. The girls all wear the same leggings. And then they wait for 2 hours at one booth to cop the other leggings that they already have, just a shade darker, but they wait 2 hours for it to get it. It's just crazy. So it's fairly represented, equally represented for everything. It's a little bit of strongman, calisthenics, everybody's there, but no kettlebells. And so that just encourages me to keep pushing more and more what I do, because it's so frustrating to see that it's not equally represented, at least like calisthenics. But I agree with you, Michael. I agree with you, Yanni, that many of the trainers who take certificates are like, all right, I'm just here for the certificate and I'm gone because, my job is to sell blood type diets or whatever. I get where you're coming from. All right,
the bad thing is that they sell the kettlebell training afterwards. They're coming for the paper. They don't do it, but they use it to train with kettlebells, and this is harmful, right? Like, this is the worst thing. If you only want the certification of kettlebell, I don't know for what reason, it's half of a trouble. Fine, but they take it, and then they try to train with it, and people have bad experiences,
Yeah,
and then
I see.
kettlebells have bad reps. And that is why I believe kettlebells does not considered functional. They considered a niche, right? It's
Oh,
a
good
small
point.
tool,
Good
but
point.
they consider like a niche. There are there is
Yeah.
the sport, like
Yeah. Oh, you're so right.
like the deep divers, like the super
Yeah.
deep divers.
Yeah. Agree.
All right, it's a niche. And you have this, strong first guys that like do stuff. It's a niche.
You're
But
so
as
right.
functional, like you don't know where to stuck them.
100%.
Kind of
Agree.
like this. And
Agree. It's a
but everything
niche
is
product.
functional. Machines are functional too. If you have, like, if you're, and this is the point that people rarely think when I talk to students, like, you have a seizure. You went, God forbid, motorcycle accident. You need to relearn how to use your limb. The machine is the best goddamn functional exercise and equipment you will ever have. The leg extension, God bless it, you will do for half year.
Agree.
Right? So you don't
Agree.
need to, go to crucified. Let's burn all the machines.
Yeah. No.
No, because there are elderly people, there are like kids
Yes.
that use it. But again, you're talking about the abusement. We're talking about, as you mentioned, that we're taking any good idea and we ride it to the ground, to the
Yes.
extreme of either or. No.
Yeah, 100%, 100% agree. And at the same time, it is a huge issue that you have 1,000 people sign up for a gym,
Yeah.
which doesn't have the capacity to house all these 1,000 people, but they know in advance that 90% won't show up anyway. So they bank on people's laziness. That's a fact. Because I cannot handle 200 clients. That's impossible. How? I don't have the capacity. I don't want to employ trainers. That's not my thing, or at least not today, right? Maybe when I'm older. But I don't have the capacity, so I can't sign up 200 people. Great. But the gym does, because they know nobody shows up. It's only 10% who show up. I got it. Machines, no. Let's not demonize them. But they are so prevalent. They're everywhere because it's so simple. We have the Mylon circle. You have these 10 machines. A housewives can instruct you on this. You do doot, and here you go. You brought up a great example with people who had some serious accident or injury or need therapy. Of course, machines are awesome. And even for bodybuilding or building muscle, machines are awesome. I'm not downplaying the fact that they are useful. But the over 40, 50, 60 market, these people who have been burned by gyms, who tell you, listen, I signed up for a gym membership in January for the 10th time in a row, and I don't go after 2 weeks. And they do it every January, right? They forget it. The collective awareness is gone. In January, everybody wants to change, so they sign up for the membership. And these people get burned, and that's a huge market. And when I talk to these people, they love kettlebells because it's so easy to implement, and they can use it. It's just we know the benefits of kettlebells now, but if such a huge market is interested in kettlebells, and it's not fairly equally represented at one of the biggest fitness expos in Germany, it tells me that either we are doing a bad job, or there's some other thing going on. But I also agree with what you said, Michael, and that is, it's not functional training, it's a niche. People think, well, I'm only going to do swings if I want to. I say this for the 10th time now on the channel. I say this all the time. Well, I only do swings to improve my jump height. What? No, you jump to improve your jump height.
Well,
What? Swings are just awesome. It's an awesome. It rebuilds your elastic capacity from the hips. It builds your core. It's an awesome workout with strength, endurance, all at once. But people think, no, I have to do heavy swings to be faster, right? And there you go, Michael. I agree 100%. It's not even considered functional. It's considered a niche in the functional realm, which makes it even more obscure and puts it into this dungeon where I want to rip it out of.
Yep. No, it's that's a good point. Somewhere something went wrong kettlebell wise, and
I mean, look at it, Michael. We have two options. Yanni, and I'd like to get what you think about this. The way I see it. You have in the kettlebell world, when you look at it from the bird's eye perspective, you have two options. You have either RKC hardstyle, strong first, which is most of the time now since Dan John stepped in RKC, I think he softened up the whole idea. But it's usually like the tough guys, the veterans, the military, the police, the firefighters, the OGs, the gangsters. These are the types, or ex-powerlifters, ex-athletes, ex-bodybuilders who, all right, and it's the black and white imagery, it's the, right, it's that raw thing. All right, I get it. That's one thing. Then when you look at the other side of the coin, it's kettlebell sport. The Russian idea where it's like gruesome, you almost die if you never did it before in your life. It's way too complicated, way too intense. This is crazy. I'm never going to do this, right? So these are the two options. And there's no middle ground. And I think that's one of the reasons why we are getting so much traction. Because I believe what I took from Steve Carter, my sensei, was that middle ground. And this is what I'm trying to really push. No, not the tough guy image. No, not the sport competitive thing, but that one tool that gives you, that touches all bases of human performance. It's not the best tool, but it's one of the best generalists tool that takes care of so many things all at once, that makes it so powerful. But from the bird's eye perspective, you only see these two ideas most of the time. So then you're stuck with it. You're like, okay, how do I fit in? Over 40 with 2 kids, or over 50, broken leg, or, you know, with back pain and shoulder issues, you know, with, I already went on surgery. I already went under the knife. I go with my weight fluctuates up and down. I kind of like the kettlebell, but, you know, right? So this is where the kettlebell is. And the goal is to, you know, rip it, popularize it more and make it more accessible. So, Yanni, I'd like to get your take on this. And Michael, of course, yours too.
Yeah. Here, for example, I don't consider myself, but they consider me, that I'm only into gear voice sport. Well, it's on the contrary. I started with RKC, and then I learned about, by accident, I learned about gear voice sport, and I did a workshop, and then I loved it. But as I told you from the beginning, I practice everything related to kettlebells. Like, I like doing strength training with kettlebells. I like doing circuits. I like doing gear voice sport. Like, I can find all the goals that I need with kettlebells. I don't stick to only one thing, like only, for example, RKC, or only gear voice sport. No, I find somewhere in the middle. Sometimes I go to gear voice sport, sometimes I go here, but I'm always in the middle. At my gym, I teach people the fitness stuff. Sometimes we do, like, now we have this thing that is new, I think, the flows. Like, I do flows on my recovery days. I take a kettlebell to the beach, I take a kettlebell outdoors, and I put the timer, for example, 15 minutes. I just hold a 16 kilo and start doing swing, snatch,
awesome.
Jerk, squat, you know, lunges. And then after 15 minutes, like, I finish a great workout in 15 minutes with only one tool. And that's a great workout, you know. This is what I like about the flows. Maybe in my early days, when I was like in 2010, when I started, or in 2012, when I learned also about gear voice sport, I was like, no, either this or that. But with time, you learn that you cannot be stubborn. You know, you can go nowhere with being stubborn. Only, for example, if I'm a competitive athlete, I'm an international competitive athlete, okay, I have to stick to gear voice sport, because I will be wasting my time doing other stuff if they don't help me become better at my sport. Or if I'm only into fitness, what can gear voice sport do to me? I'm only gonna train in fitness, doing hip hinge, you know, doing squats, doing jumps, doing heavy kettlebells for little repetitions. So that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So I agree. like as you said, Gregory, like between the two extremes, we exist, and kettlebell is a kettlebell. We give it meaning. We gave it meaning, like humans give meaning to everything, and over meaning sometimes. So kettle was just a kettlebell. Like it's
Yeah.
again, it's everything and it's nothing. So like you can demonize it, you can divine it, like whatever. So we all I love this frame that I cannot uh, I cannot I cannot make you a fighter, but you can choose to fight. So in kettlebell wise, only people who choose to compete, who have this inclination to sport, they will find me. They will find it. They will ask questions. So it's another division. But in general, when like, what do you do? Like simple. I make people happy. We have a great community of people that we train together. And what I do is help people to stay committed and consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
That's
So
it.
yes, I use kettlebells. I use steel mace. We do some animal movements, like it's all around. Is this middle ground? I use snatches, like I use this movements, like the jerks, everything as a framework for the holistic, all right, human movement system, cross-lateral loaded, if we're getting too smart on this, on the language, and that's it. But eventually, my goal is to keep you happy, committed, and consistent, and to celebrate your health and your movement-free ability. And yes, I do it with kettle because kettlebell is the tool that's best suited for it because of its shape and everything. All right, it's very comfortable. But other than this,
And right, so we know this, but so many
people
trainers
don't.
and folks don't, right? So
Sure.
us, the inner circle, we know about this, but as soon as you talk to somebody outside from the sphere of kettlebells, they think it's that niche thing that you are alluding to,
Yeah.
right? So, ladies and gentlemen,
And it's fun to train. It's fun to train with the kettlebell. Then to train with other, like for example, let's say the most famous are the barbell and the dumbbell. With the barbell, you cannot have fun. Like you either do an exercise, for example, or it breaks you. You can't, for example, if you do a snatch with the kettlebell, you do a wrong grab, for example, you throw it. With the barbell, you can't do this.
yeah,
Where are you gonna? If you do a snatch, for example, with 100 kilos,
Yeah.
where are you gonna go?
So-
Some people got severely injured by training by let's say playing with barbells. You cannot
point.
approach a barbell from having fun, you know. And also the dumbbell is not easy. Like you cannot clean a dumbbell. If you put a dumbbell here, it's gonna bounce, and you know it's not that easy to train with a dumbbell. I love the dumbbell snatches, for example.
yeah, me too.
They're not technical. They're just like you hold the heavy dumbbell
yeah.
and you just snatch it. Yeah,
Agree.
they're the least technical. I love them. But with kettlebells, you can mix thousands of exercises. You can do 2 or 3 exercises and have a great workout. It can be challenging. It can be fun. It can be beneficial. It's everything.
Sure.
This is what I taught the trainers today. Like this is like they did the workshop with me. They learned the techniques, but here they learned how to design programs and workouts, and now they know how to use the kettlebells. Oh, okay, now we can do workouts with kettlebells. Last time we trained techniques, but we didn't know how to build programs. And okay, we learned the clean. What else? How can I put this in a workout? So today they learned this.
Awesome. And you're doing God's work in Lebanon, for that matter, Yanni, and we all know.
Thank you.
And you know, at the end of the day, it's, you know, I try to be. We are kettlebell coaches. We love what we do. We are into kettlebells. But I'm always trying to take myself away from the tool and not get confirmation bias because I'm so into it. But from a hard facts standpoint, if you look at the training modalities of course, we don't demonize it. It's great that you mentioned this, Michael. I don't want people to get all hung up, say, Gregory says, or these guys say that machines are stupid. No, they are valid and they are useful, right? Dumbbells too, barbells too. But what the kettlebell makes so special is touching all these spaces, having fun with it, flowing with it, getting this biomechanical efficiency where you can rack the kettlebell and not attach it to your muscle where you burn out, but you attach the weight to your frame. This means you can work indefinitely because you load your skeleton with more weight and not your muscle, which makes it so awesome. It restores the elasticity of the body. It's the endurance capabilities, the power, everything that comes with it, and that awesome fun aspect that is when you master these exercises. And even if I take myself away from it, knowing what the kettlebell is capable of and its effectiveness, it should be more popular because it does so many things. Yet at the same time, this is where so many people sometimes miss the mark, or even I did. It's no, you cannot become maximally strong with a barbell, with a kettlebell. If you want this, you got to pick up barbells. You can incrementally load them and look at the strongest people in the world. They always lift heavy barbells or just heavy stuff in general. So the kettlebell is probably not the best tool for this. It is also not the best tool to build your pure cardiovascular endurance. For that matter, you need to go cross-country skiing, you need to go running, you need to go rowing. It's also not the best tool to build on your mobility. Maybe you need some stretching and that stuff, but it touches these spaces. It makes everything all at once, not perfectly. Nobody ever said this, but it touches all these aspects. And that's what's so interesting. The barbell can't do this. Machines surely can't do this. Running or the locomotion stuff can't do this. The dumbbells don't do this. While at the same time, that, just to reiterate, that doesn't make them bad. It's just a different tool from a different family. But the kettlebell has some advantages compared to these other training modalities. That's why so many people flock towards it, at least from my perspective and the feedback that we get.
True. Like every tool for its own job, eventually, as it is.
Yep.
Yes.
Agree. All right, gentlemen, we spent
Yeah.
2 hours talking. And
2 hours. We can spend 2 more hours.
Yeah, most definitely. See, that's why I love doing this. First of all, I'd like to hang out with you guys, and I hope we get to know each other one day in personal and in real life too, and see each other. One day I'm gonna organize something, most definitely. But it's just having the conversations and even, getting different perspectives, because sometimes I think I have a blind spot where I only see from one perspective. So it's just awesome having these conversations. So I appreciate, Yanni, you showing up, and really appreciate your time. It's awesome getting connected with you again. And make sure, Yanni, I'm going to send you this invite to the Kettlebell Dojo.
Sure.
And make sure you're going to check your spam, because sometimes the email lands in the spam. And then you can sign up and check out the communities. And really, I think it could be a very powerful tool in your hands for your gym. I see it from my perspective as well. And again, Micah, to you, I want to say thank you for showing up. It's always a pleasure having a conversation with you. You also reminded me to reach out to Levi again, to make sure I'm going to talk to him and have a conversation with him too. Most definitely.
Have fun, both of you.
Most definitely. I'm going to look forward to this. And again, I'm going to send you an invite too to the Kettlebell Dojo. You can see the community, see how it's built.
Gladly.
And like I said, like I told Yanni, I'm going to repeat myself, but repetition is reinforcement, I learned. And that is, I think it's a valuable and valid tool. And for all the trainers listening, I'm not sponsored by school, not at all. I don't have an affiliate, no, nothing. But I see this is for communities, for trainers, for businesses, for studios, gyms who have a tight-knit community. This is a powerhouse at your disposal, so it's really worth checking out. So I'm gonna send you the invite after this call. Of course, I'm gonna let you know once the episode is live. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining this roundtable.
Yes.
Nice meeting you, Michael.
Appreciate it.
Likewise, Yanni.
Awesome. And we'll stay connected. We'll stay in touch. All right. Thank you so much.
More to come. Thank you.
Awesome. More to come. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you. We help aspiring kettlebell coaches become confident as kettlebell practitioners and educators in only 10 weeks. If you want to find out more about our method, check the first link in the description and sign up for our waiting list.